Right guys and girls, Mark Crossfield here, talking how to hit your driver straighter. And you can apply this to any club really. So in the comments down below, do you want to hit the ball straighter? Yes or no? Down there, let me know. Now, the second question, if you've answered, do you want to hit the ball straighter? Yes or no? What does straighter actually mean? Do you mean you want to curve it less? Or do you mean you want to hit more fairways? Again, I want to know what that means to you down there. In this video today, we're going to explain what it means. I'm going to hit a series of straight shots, less curvature, as straight as I can hit. I'm going to hit then some draws, and I'm going to fade it. And then we're going to also talk about this concept and idea of maybe trying to take one side of the course out so that you never miss on the left side, those kind of ideas. Which, even though there's some good in that, it's not actually true on what good players are doing, which is where some golfers maybe chase a mythical, magical desire that even the best players in the world aren't doing. Let me show you what I mean. I hope you've answered those questions down there. And while you're down there, if you like this video, come in the middle, the end, or wherever you get to on it, don't forget, you should subscribe to the channel and hit that thumbs up button for me. Let me know that you like this kind of video, and I will just do more of them. Right, straight to start, I'm going to hit a series of 10 drives with each skill set, so straight, draw and fade. So 10 is a fair amount of average drives with a driver you would hit on a golf course. And we'll take here the ideas to a golf course of how you can straighten out. So the idea of hitting the ball straight, basically I'm going to have to apply 0 club path, so not out to in or in to out, and I'm going to have the face delivered at 0 to that path when I strike it. And ideally, I'm going to have to hit it on the 0 part of the face. So you've got to remember this face has got curvature on it. So trying to hit the ball dead straight is, yeah, good luck to me. Well, I've hit the ball straight, but just a little up the left. This is something I see amateurs really get stuck on over the years and get confused with. And I think it's still taught a little bit incorrectly as well, this desire to hit the ball straight and what it actually means. And certainly the desire to maybe take one side of the course out of play. Is that actually really a thing? And hopefully I'll show you what I mean as we hit through these shots. Right, same ideas now, but I'm going to hit 10 draws. I'm going to try and get everything onto that centre line is my goal. So I'm aiming down the right here, facing club. I've got a little bit more tilt in my body. I'm going to try and get the ball curving to the left. And try and draw it back. See, that one's coming a little bit. So we're now actually trying to shape the ball the other way. In fact, you know, people who will draw the ball more, you might think of them as trying to take the right side out of play. They're always going to be drawing back towards that target and off to the left side in theory. So striker's made that one go a little bit straight, but it's still a decent shot. And now we're going to hit 10 fades, in theory, cancelling out the left side. You know, everything's always curving back to the right is the idea, the mindset. You might find that one of these ways has more of a comfortable feeling for you. So me, as someone who's quite a 0 player, kind of straight with the face, straight with the path as a norm, I feel I can go both sides quite easily, but I definitely feel like the fade is a fraction more controllable for me. So if you have these ideas and you just feel more comfortable drawing and the fade isn't an option, we'll talk about what that means. And when we look at the data, don't worry about that. You will find some people can do all three, some people are very one-sided, and as a coach often you wouldn't really fight that. You do the best you can with what the player brings. So fade, face up the left, feet up the left. Just swinging across this ball slightly and making sure the face just stays slightly open to that path. I'm just going to move it back, slightly overturn that one, but it's the right idea. Cancelling out the left, in theory, cutting off to the right. Or am I? It's a pretty nice fade, comes somewhere near target. Let's show you these 3 sets of data, see which one did cancel out one side of the fairway, which one is defined as straighter. So this is player 1, the straight player's hitting. You can see here that they are lots of those hitting fairways. I'll show you the exact numbers in a moment. Probably these two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those out of 10 are hitting fairways. These two might be in recovery positions, but could quite easily be in play. But you can quite clearly see, so on the center line, I am missing left and I am missing right. I am not cancelling out one side of the fairway. And you can see from the traces, there's a few draws, there's a few fades and a few straight. So hitting the ball straighter, 0 path, 0 face, 0 strike, trying to hit dead straight shots, which is something so many people desire to do. But I'm pretty good at that, and you can see I'm moving it both sides. And the thing that's most interesting, if we delve into the numbers and look at my club pass 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, face 0, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 2, 0. So I'm averaging 0 out to in, or 0.1 with a standard deviation of 0.5, and I've got a face 1.6 open with a standard deviation of nearly 1. So I can be up to 2.5 open and bound to zeros. Like, I am pretty zero player. And if we look at my direction, I'm averaging nearly 6 yards right with a standard deviation of 14. So think about what that means. I'm averaging down the right center of that fairway, but I'm a 14 standard deviation of that right position. So if I hit those shots over and over and over again, that's a pattern I repeat, I can be 20 yards right and I can be 8 yards left. If you think about the average fairway, certainly for amateur golf, around 30 to 40 yards, I'm going to be hitting a lot of fairways there. Getting into recovery areas, again, is going to be hard. So that's straight, me trying to hit straight, and I would say that is quite straight. So I'm hitting fairways. So depending on what you want to do, hit the ball with less curve, or you want to hit more fairways, that data set, I'm kind of doing both. Now, if we look at this data set, this is where it starts getting really interesting. This is the draw player. You can see the curves apart from a few where they've actually curved the other way, and I'll show you the numbers in a second. You can see dispersion relatively similar, a little bit wider, but again, there's the center line. I am missing to the left and to the right of target. Hitting draws, which I'm relatively successful of doing, and I'll show you those numbers on compared to player 1 in a second, because this is the draw player compared to the straight player. I'm still missing left and right. Players are not getting rid of one side of the fairway, so maybe if this is a desire that you have, your expectation could be completely wrong, possibly. So if we look at this data, I'm averaging 5 left, where I was 6 right last time, but I'm now 24, so I'm not maybe as skilled in, but it's a small data set as I hit more, not miles off, but I've definitely got more, the standard deviation of 24, nearly 25. Let's call that 25 yards left or right. So I can now be 30 yards left, or I can be 20 yards right. Still in play-ish. You just wouldn't want too many of the 37 lefts going on. But we'll talk about this in a second, because obviously I could aim 5 yards right, and now I would be 24 right and 24 left. If you measure your home course, obviously you've got your fairway, 30 yards, 20 yards, 40 yards wide, whatever, they vary. But then you'll have your semi-rough or rough, and you'll have your recovery areas. You'll find lots of time, 50 yards is enough space to hit the ball into for most golfers. And if we look at player 3 here, who is the fader, so you can see the fades going on here. So what I will do is just show you the club data for player 2 as well, just to show you draw, in, out, 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 in, out. So there was none of the fades were coming from not being out. Face slightly open, closed, open, closed, open, closed, 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 closed. So you can see the opens, 4 opens here. If we look at one of these, let's look at this one here. This face is open to par for a par 4 right, but this ball drew. Absolutely drew because of where I struck it. You can see the draw spin here, excesses of the 23. So on each one of my shots, I am applying pretty good draw numbers. It's this variable here that is determining if that ball draws or fades, basically. So back to player 3, this is the fade player. You can see everything there apart from one shot is fading. One of them I got slightly wrong. This is my preferred way. I felt like I could arrow it here, but again, I am left and I am right of that center line. I am not cancelling out one side, but what I am doing, and this is the key to this, is I'm averaging 3 yards left with a standard deviation of 18. So I can go 21 left or down to 15 right. So what I think is really interesting from those 3 data sets, not one of them is cancelling out one side. And if they did cancel out one side, I would be missing further on one side, if you think about it. I would be pushing them more, say, on the fades, the ones that now, if you have to push all of them right, even if you take out the toey drawed one in there, you're now having to push everything a long way right for me to hit target and cancel one side out. So trying to cancel one side out of the fairway and hit the ball straighter, you have to know what it means. I want you to take a look at this data. Here's some amateur data with a student I'm working on. And in the comments, I want you to tell me, where should this player aim? So out of those 3 data sets, I'm gonna literally take the first one, which is my most comfortable, my 0-0, which did have arguably my smallest standard deviation, but I'm averaging 4 right. So arguably I could do this aiming slightly up the left and get straighter, or what I might do is just think, look, I got a 20-yard gap left and right pretty much to hit into. That's going to win most of the times. And if you look on this offline, 24 right, there's 2 of them missing that 20-yard gap basically. So we're on the 9th here at Pebble Beach, and I've just walked down to around where my ball's going to try and thread through. And you can see here from the graphic here, let's just expand this out, that the fairway's around 30, 32 yards wide in this area and then gets wider. It's a little bit wider at this point, it's around 35 to 40. So I should, and obviously this fairway is cambered as well, it's sloped, so it actually will play narrower than this. Let's see how many I thread into this fairway. So again, remember, my standard deviation to slight miss, I was slightly under straight, well, I think, was it down the right? So I'm gonna aim a fraction up the left, like I'm trying to aim literally 4 yards up the left to allow for that, because the left miss is more friendly here. So that's going to miss the fairway because it's going to hit the fairway and then probably, oh no, it's going to hit the fat bit. And then obviously you see it rolling off. Well, it might miss the fairway actually. So again, aiming slightly up the left. Slight miss it. But again, I'm playing my variance. I'm playing what we're seeing in my tests. So I am able to hit fairway because I have aware of where my mean, where my average miss is. 10 yards left, 10 yards right. If you think about that amateur player, which we'll do in a second, where should they be aiming on here? And then also I know my standard deviation. So I know where my average left and right miss is. And with a fairway like this, 30 so yards wide, I know with the water being another 10 yards on from that, pretty much can take it on. But remember, there was that slight pattern of it going to the right, averaging 5 right, wasn't it? I think with the straight one. So all I'm doing is I'm aiming away from it slightly. I'm aiming slightly up the left. And that's what you'll find good players do. Here's some interesting stats here from some of the world-class players over years and years of data. Over 70% of them don't have a biased miss. They don't have a consistent left or right miss. They're pretty even. But what they do have is hitting the ball straight, a tight shot pattern. That's the skill that you need to be working on. Tightening up your shot pattern, not worrying about hitting it straight, or if you fade it, or if you draw it. It's about making sure those patterns stay as tight as possible. So there's my miss hit, look, toey one. And on this hole, I'm going to get away with it. I'm going to be in deep rough if it's a proper tournament, but I'm not hitting it out into the water. Knowing that toe miss is there that you saw from the test, again, I'm able to work that into the data to try and reduce the amount of double bogeys I might have. That one just needs to hold up the left a fraction. But if we just, there you go, that works. Let's just show you those numbers, because again, what you can see from those, even on the simulated course, so if we take them away from the course, I am missing, oh, that's a good shot, left and right. But if you take the one bad strike away, which if I was practicing enough, I would hope I wouldn't hit that one. This is my variance. I'm going to have left and right, but it's tight enough for me to hit, if you imagine, a fairway or not the recovery areas. Now, if you are the player who has a lot of these, lots of the people watching, it's this shot is going to be the big killer, the miss hit. So high, look at the numbers, 0 path, 1 face. It's all pretty neutral if you get that out the middle. It's just a complete miss hit, giving it ridiculous amounts of hook spin. If you're that player, you're going to find working on things like strike will tighten your variance in enough for you to hit target. The desire to hit the ball straight, I think, is one that's often maybe not fully understood. Let's just talk about our amateur player again, and I'm going to hit some shots in their fashion. So I'm just going to convert it to a right-hander. I know it's a bit confusing because they're a left-hander, but they basically need to be aiming 11 yards or so up the left, literally at the left-hand side of the fairway, to then work their shots, their variance, back into in play. So obviously that's not hitting fairway, but the ball is in play. It's hitting some area of target. It's going 2, 3, 5 on the carry. It's going their distance. They're hitting it. See, again, I am just aiming for my variations. And that's a decent drive, and I am just aiming that 15 yards up the left, because obviously not only am I aiming for their variance, I'm aiming also as well to try and move it away from the trouble and the fact that the fairway slopes. See how much is going on to try and hit target. In those comments down below, are you this player? Are you working it out this much, or are you literally stood on this hole, hitting it straight and just thinking, oh, why has that gone in the right-hand rough? Well, that's your pattern. It slopes from left to right. It's trouble on the right. Like, why are you not aiming up on the left and moving your shot pattern, knowing your dispersions on this hole? Is something I see amateurs make the mistake on time and time again. Let me know if that makes sense. Post comments down below. I don't see any patterns, particularly between drawers, the faders, the people who hit the ball straight. I do see patterns with people who hit excessive curve. If you're someone who does hit excessive curve, like I said earlier, I mean, I'm moving my club path on those tests nearly 10 degrees. If you're someone moving your club path more than 10 degrees, there is a way of reducing that curvature to maybe bring in that dispersion, but at the same time, with 10 degrees worth of, 5 out to in, 5 in to out and out to in, so 10 degree variance there on my club path, I was still able to keep it very tight on the dispersion. The thing that kills me each time is that strike, and that's a key thing to remember as well. Right, one last drive, down the middle, hard as I can, going for my straight ball that isn't straight, doesn't cancel out one side. Oh, I missed it. Classic finish. There you go, look, in the trouble. At the end of the day, what's beautiful with this game, 0.5 path, 1.9 face, poor strike, that is going to punish you. Let me know in the comments down below if this makes sense or not. Is it something you've thought about or not? I do think the desire to hit the ball straighter is a confusing one. We've got to define what straight means. I still don't know what it means. To me, arguably it's result. You just need a shot pattern that's as tight as, if you can go, 0 average and your 10-yard standard deviation of that, I don't care, it's got a 40-yard cut on it, apart from possibly losing a bit of distance if it is curving too much. But knowing where your average drive goes, may it be left or right, it doesn't have to be 0, and then understanding the standard deviation around those numbers is what will allow you to hit the ball straighter. You might already be hitting it straight, you've just not worked it into your shot patterns yet. That would be an easy fix, wasn't it? Maybe one of the easiest fixes out there. Let me know in the comments down below.